Hello friends, hello audience, uh, haters and friends and all. You're welcome. The title of this short video is Trump's Dominion of Deception, or Deception Dominion of Trump. What's going on now? Trump and his posse and his teeth, they're involved in so much deception and derailment and cover-up tactics and so on, because they're desperate to get into the White House. I'm going to give you a rundown of this. First of all, the rule is this, or the fact is this: Russia is on the brink, basic and simple. You may hear otherwise on the social media or on the news outlets or some government officials in Europe and the US, Middle East, here and there, they may give you, or even Russia itself trying to project a false reality, different than what is on the ground, right? What is going on and what's happening and what has ensued or resulted on the ground. They're trying to cover up that fact that Russia is really on the brink. After over than 2 years, like 2 years now, maybe more than that, of war against Ukraine, they basically hemorrhage. They're hemorrhaging, bloodletting and hemorrhaging. They're hemorrhaging. So the first thing that the Trump machine is doing is, or the first venue, that shadowy tactic is, now they appear they're against Putin, and that they're supporting Ukraine. Can't be farther from the truth, folks. They just can't have shifted position all of a sudden, when we know how staunch proponents and supporters of Trump they are. They are of the same camp, of the same dogma, of the same school of thought, of the same faith, of the same. These guys here, Republicans, now the Trump machine, the Trump dominion or domain of deception, are in fact 100% for Putin. But why are they doing this? Is because they realize that white America, at least white America, is for supporting Ukraine. So now that has become a risk. They realize that this was a mistake to appear as they're pro Trump and against Ukraine. So they're basically trying to shift tactics now. Two of them, those Trumpites or Trump domain of deception, and that bastion of domain of deception, right? Two very prominent members of this is Elon Musk, as well as that Vance of St. Louis, I believe. I think he's a congressman or a senator. They stated, Mr. Vance stated that he wants, and he demanded, there was some kind of anger built around it, like it's laced with anger, that he wants Ukraine to cede territory to Russia. Musk as well, that they're going to lose more territory. Ukraine is not losing territory. It's really Russia that is losing territory. That's not theirs, right? And now there is a carrot being dangled. So for them to say that they're for supporting Ukraine as one of the teeth or fangs of Putin and Trump and so on, which is Johnson, the new guy Johnson. Now he's talking about supporting Ukraine. He's a liar. He's just plain liar, right? They now found it that it's a desirable tactic to get back into the White House. Now, second is NATO. Really, NATO, which is also pro-Putin, but they don't declare that, is dangling a carrot. They will not carry out or reform, or they will not even hand the carrot. It's just a bait. And that's like membership in the European Union. They will not give you that, folks. Neither do I advise you of doing that. Going into NATO or going into EU, they will come and dictate policy and appease, for you to appease Stalin or Putin, right? the lizard eye cabal of Moscow. So that's number two. Number three is you get like meetings, although they, between Putin and the Gulf, those Gulf moles and those Gulf, the Trumps of the Gulf, right? Saudi, Kuwait, Qatar, UAE, and Bahrain, and those five, I don't know, GCC they call them. Those regimes in there are pro-Putin. They're in the same boat, in the same temple, in the same everything as Putin and as Trump and as Obama, of course. So and now there are other things they're doing here in the United States aside from appearing to now with an ostensible claim that they're supporting Ukraine. Now I want to bring to your attention something here very important. Not too long ago, Trump himself made a statement that because of the election was rigged, he wants the Senate and the Congress to suspend the Constitution and correct the situation. Guess what? Guess what? It's that simple that you cannot overlook such a fact or such a very obvious, like brazen statement to indicate to you what this guy is going to do. He said on the first day he will be dictator for 1 day. That day is when he suspends the Constitution. That's all there is to it. And then immediately afterwards, begin the execution, begin the process of depopulating the country or changing the country into a Soviet-era regime, tyranny, totalitarianism, and you will see gulags. Those who support Putin and those who support Trump, they will be the first one to be dispatched or to be liquidated or to be eliminated. That's what that 1 day means to me. That 1 day means to me is that he's going to suspend the Constitution and then afterwards say goodbye to America. Now you may say Russia, after 70 years of communism, it recovered. Russia never recovered. It's still under communism. Communism there has shifted a little bit. Why? Because they are still in the process of engulfing the world, slowly but surely taking over. Once their totalitarianism has encompassed the entire world, that's when things begin to appear to you. And then you're going to be eating a bowl of snot like in the Matrix, and you're going to be in the Animal Farm and so on and so forth. And then, of course, cryptocurrency, right? That cryptocurrency. Let me tell you something about cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency, some people say, like harvesting or mining, right? But it's not that. It cannot accommodate like a whole country or world economy. You guys don't know. What's going on now is that one person will own this particular certain cryptocurrency. The other will own another cryptocurrency. The third is another cryptocurrency. All these are the Morpheus, Rabbi Morpheus. They will own different cryptocurrencies. So you will see Bitcoin at the Nebuchadnezzar, and then you will see whatever Ether, whatever at the other section or the other domain, right? That subdomain of Zion, right? So now the control of currency, and they also have what's called blockchain, right? So they all talk to each other, so they can honor each other's certificate, which is fine-grained control per person, right? You know what? They can change like now, if you have $1 in your pocket, if they change its value, it's like everybody is hit, everybody is affected. But when it's a crypto, whatever it is, so now you have like all these entities, independent entities. This guy controls the currency for this, say, 20 million or whatever. The other guy, the other Morpheus, controls the cryptocurrency, their own cryptocurrency for that, and right? You see? So now there's no government. Governments are no longer, or established governments or entities, like that rule countries by way of election and so on and so forth. They no longer have anything to do with the currency, right? So now the control of the wealth of the currency is really, in fact, controlled by unknown figures, unknown entities that are above the law, untouchables, and then what happens is if this guy doesn't like you or want to subdue you, just like they did Neo, right? He will just drop your currency to zero, and guess what? You can't even eat. You either die or you bow down. So, and you know what? There are some, like science fiction movies and so on that describe such thing, that those people who develop into like changed humans and so on, and they reside underground and here and there, and they communicate with each other. Believe me, that's no science fiction. This is what this is going to be. Maybe not tomorrow, but if Trump takes over, oh, this will certainly happen. So now, don't ever disregard what I am saying. Don't ever be lethargic or stoic or just kick back and relax, wait for events to happen. Because if events happen the way these guys are planning for them to happen, or hoping for them to happen, or working hard and vigorously fighting their way through, mainly by way of deception, mainly by deception tactics, mainly by deceiving, mainly by lying, mainly by taking positions that are not real, that don't reflect what's within their psyche. No, 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 no. These guys are liars. Excuse me. So now, I mean, imagine, just take into consideration the fact that that they just shifted position on Russia. It just can't be. Even when they did, now you get your Musk mobile, right, and you get your vans, just going vehemently against Ukraine. And these two are Trump's fangs and teeth and hoofs and you name it, right? Well, he is one of them. The real master is really Putin. The main puppeteer is Putin, right? And above him, Netanyahu, right? So I'm going to repeat again, you law enforcement agencies, you intelligence agencies, you Americans who are concerned about the future and well-being of your posterity, of yourselves, of your children, of your country, you can't wait, folks. You know what's happening. You know what's happening. The guy is brazen enough the other day to basically retweet one of the tweets about him becoming a dictator. That's how arrogant and brazen these guys are, because in their heart they believe it's going to happen, right? And they will tell you between now and then, with all this like ocean of deception, waves of deception, and overwhelming media and internet and here and there about their deceptions. Oh, they speak between now and then. They tell you what it is. Those politicians that are in retirement, I don't know why are you waiting. What your partner in this? Speak your mind now, and don't be afraid, because if you are afraid now, and look what happened. Those people who shouldered the revolution in Russia and who brought Lenin, the brothers Lenin and Stalin, into office, they were slaughtered and sent to the gulags. Very same people. Same thing in Iran. 250,000 in the first year alone, those who shouldered the revolution, including its leaders like Ayatollah Bashati. In Cuba, in Syria, in China, wherever you go, it's those very same people who shouldered the revolution, were the first one to be eliminated in mass, right? And then afterwards, well, I don't need to lecture you on that. Everybody knows what communism is. Everybody knows what everybody knows what Nazism is. Everybody knows what the Cuba Revolution is. Look at Cuba, right? Cuba, these guys were, roused into frenzy against Batista and capitalism and so on and so forth. Really? Look how they're living now. 10% of them drive Mercedes and have villas. And, they enjoy the wealth of the country. And what happened to the 90%? Guess what? Guess what? Guess what? Right? Look, they live there like dogs. You know what? Their trash is so void of food that even stray dogs don't even wander in their neighborhoods anymore. That's how they live, right? And one more, Enver Hoxha, right, of Albania. Just go ahead and read about him. Once he took over, they had like isolated areas where luxury is, where food is, where stores are, where, right? And the vast majority of the country were basically in a perpetual gulags, that there are no cars. There were, like, I remember somebody said on somewhere that there were only 1,400 cars. Look at Cuba. They have cars like from what, 1800, the first when they first cars when they first appeared on the streets, and they still even now, try to patch them, try to like keep them running. But why? Because it's illegal to import cars except for that select few which are above the law, the Castros and the Pinochets and the Che Guevara and so on. And the rest are not, right? They even given barely to eat, and they're kept there. Why? Because sometimes they send them to fight. Like, for example, Castro used to send them in the thousands and thousands to fight in Africa and here and there to secure the rule of his comrades in Africa, right? And they died in there in mass. And guess what? Look, their families and children and kids and so on. Look, they live like dogs, like pigs. Wild pigs, wild boars in the streets, beginning in the trash and so on. That's how they live. You think this is far-fetched in the United States or cannot happen in the United States? You better look again. That regime of Trump is going to start that process. Before him, Richard Nixon supposedly invaded or opened up China. For what, right? It's really he really opened China so that he and his comrades, right? The Trumps and the Bush and, the Obamas and, Johnson and whoever it is, no, Johnson was before, right? And the Reagan and the Carter and so on. So they can take all the United States and ship it to China and Russia and Iran, right? Iran is, those three tripods of Israel. Look, man, if you're a retired VP or somebody retired senator and so on, you better speak up. Really, really. I mean, you're watching your country poised to be burned into ashes, right? And now you're just watching. You look. If you ever want to fight, your fight against this tyranny that is coming up, it will be effective now. Once they take over, your fight will not be effective anymore. So the window of you fighting off this approach by the Putins and the Netanyahus that will do away with the United States as you know it, and then it turns into an animal farm or a gulag like Albania, or Yugoslavia as well, or Russia, or Germany, or Iran, or Syria, or anywhere, or China, Mao Zedong, right? The brother of the Hitler, and the brother of Lenin and Stalin and so on, Pol Pot and so on. I don't need to lecture you on that. If you wait, your fight will be ineffective anymore if these guys come and take over. And like I said, there is a wave of deception and tactics and deception. They're trying to mislead you into thinking that they're for Ukraine because that may relax you and then you vote for them. They're not for Ukraine. They're against Ukraine. Once this Trump takes over, he is going to attack Ukraine and support Russia to the teeth. He's going to blockade Ukraine. How he's going to do that? Do you remember when George H. Bush blockaded Bosnia when the Serbs invaded Bosnia and these guys were defending themselves and so on? So they blockaded, he sent the US Navy and it blockaded the coastal region, between Italy and the Balkan, right? So as to make sure that Bosnia doesn't get help from anywhere. And he blockaded them from here and there. Basically, he established a full blockade of Bosnia. Not just that, that was only one thing, right? And what did that result, what are the results of that, of George H. Bush? Now, we're not talking about him killing millions in Iraq for the sake of Iran, right? But in Bosnia, right, that resulted in the murder of hundreds of thousands, possibly millions, right? I think it's in the millions, right? Why did you do that? Well, guess what? He's Putin and Netanyahu. He's dead, but ask his son. He'll tell you. I'm sure he knows that story, which I just told you. Yes, that's what Trump is going to do to Ukraine. He's going to establish full blockade of Ukraine, uh, whether by way of land or sea, and he's not short of allies or supporters of his strategy in Europe as well. Uh, Believe it or not, Russia now is on the brink, and that's why they're trying to hurry up and trying to stop the fight, but appease Putin at the same time. If you do appease Putin now, or if you negotiate peace now, they will take that as a gift from you, right? But they will come back again, I assure you. Right now, if Ukraine stops the fight, it will be a problem. Right now, if you're in the US government or German government or Scandinavia or anywhere else, and if you're ready for Ukraine to defend Europe and win in that defense for Europe, you would arm them to the teeth or give them enough designs uh, and so on to manufacture their own. That's all. But if Trump comes up and gets the White House, blockade will be established against Ukraine right there and then. In fact, if that doesn't work, he may resort to sending the U.S. Air Force and the U.S. Navy to attack Ukraine on behalf of Putin. I don't know what else to tell you, folks, but believe me, there's some ominous signs on the horizon for you Americans, for you Europeans. Oh, ominous signs. You can be working in the intelligence, right? And then you think this is a big secret that you shouldn't tell. Look again, it's not just your job that's going to be on the line if Putin comes into your backyard in Europe and front yard and into your houses in Europe. Oh, there are more than that on the line, folks. Oh, more than that on the line. Have a nice day, my friends. And guess what? I don't know what else to say, but the domain of deception, it's their dominion, it's their specialty, it's their skill set, deception and ruthlessness. And, well, add deception, add very, very evil advanced deception. Add Putin, add Stalin, or add Lenin, add Hitler, add Khomeini, add Pinochet, Castro, and Pol Pot, and Mao Zedong, and Assad, and so on. Put them all in the same pot, and you get like the recipe of hell that is moving about now, churning and trying to change the world. If you don't mind changing the world, hey, guess what? Sometimes I don't mind changing the world, but guess what? What's gonna happen afterwards will make your hair turn white right there and then. Because if you lived early on in the last century under communism and you were in the gulags, oh, folks. Not just that, the Germans, people accuse the Germans of being Nazis. I remember those SS, right, the very select few, they would stand in the streets while the war is going on, right? And Germany was betrayed from within. And if you're walking, they will stop you. And if you refuse or be AWOL and escape from the war, they will ship you right there and then to the Eastern Front. Many of the Germans, not too long afterwards, realized what this movement, this horror of movement, is all about. And they, in fact, didn't want to fight, but guess what? They were going to kill them right there and then, those SS and their man Hitler and his brother Stalin, right? Same thing happened on the other side, right? They used to make them drink vodka and give them drugs or something like that so they can fight to the death. And if they refused and tried to run back, there are brigades there who would shoot them, right? Folks, what's coming? What's coming? Don't kid yourselves. Have a nice day. And I wish you wake up and start fighting off this wave of horror, this wave of deadly creatures crawling from the east, coming around. They're already here, but they need that White House and Constitution and so on to be controlled, right? In order for them to be able to do what to do. Americans, get up and fight. Have a nice day, my friends.